King. Information. Whiskey. Read departure runway 23. Cross runway departure runway 23. Departure runway 23. Startup approved. Please contact. Good day. Wind 317 degrees 5 knots. Clear to land runway 35 right.
Request startup.
Departure runway. Departure runway. Startup. Pushback approved at cross. Contact tower on. 118. Please contact. Departure. Taxi to holding point run. Wind 317 degrees 5. Taxi to holding point runway 23. Please contact. Please contact. Departure. Contact tower. Departure runway 2. Wind 317 degrees 5 knots. Clear for takeoff runway 35 left. Report leaving 3.
Clear for takeoff runway 35 left.
Pushback approved at own discretion.
Roger.
Departure runway 23. Contact when ready to start. Wind 317 degree. Wind 31. Cross run. Contact tower on. Contact tower on. 118.100. Taxi to holding point run. Wind 317 degrees. Clear for takeoff runway. Call you back passing 3,000 feet. Taxi to holding point runway. Wind 317 degrees.
Clear for takeoff runway 35 right. Call you back passing 3,000 feet.
Taxi to holding point. Pushback approved at own discretion.
Roger.
Please contact. Departure on 126.420. Wind 317 degrees 5 knots.
Clear for takeoff runway 23.
Startup approved. Report when ready to taxi. Startup approved. Please contact. Departure on 126.420.
At parking. Information. Whiskey.
Departure runway 23. Contact when ready. Please contact. Departure runway. Departure runway 23. Contact when ready to start.
Departure runway 23. When ready to start.
Holding point runway 35 left.
Pushback approved at own discretion. Contact tower on 118.100.
Request taxi.
Taxi to holding point runway 23.
Roger. Taxi to holding point runway 23.
Wind 317 degree. Contact tower on 118.100. Pushback approved at own discretion. Pushback approved at own discretion. Wind 317 degrees 5 knots. Contact tower on 118.100. Request pushback. Pushback approved at own discretion. Please contact. Departure on 126. Startup approved. Pushback approved at startup approved. Report when ready to taxi. Startup approved. Call you back when ready to taxi.
Startup approved. Call you back when ready to taxi.
At parking. Information.
Departure runway 23. Contact when ready to start. At parking. Information. Departure runway 2. Contact tower on 118.100. Wind 317 degree.
Clear for takeoff runway 35 right. Call you back.
Wind 317 degrees 5. Departure runway 23. Contact when ready to. Pushback approved at own discretion. Departure runway 23.
Departure runway.
Pushback approved at own discretion.
Request startup.
Startup approved. Report when ready to taxi.
Startup approved. Call you back when ready to taxi.
Wind 317 degrees 5 knots. Clear for takeoff runway 23. Report departure runway 23. Contact pushback approved. Taxi to holding point runway 23. Startup approved. Report.
Startup approved. Call you back when ready to taxi.
Request startup. Startup approved. Report when startup approved. Pushback approved at own discretion.
Roger.
Pushback approved. Taxi to holding point runway 23. Roger. Taxi to holding point runway 23. Taxi to holding point runway 23.
Roger. Taxi to holding point. Request startup.
Startup approved. Report when ready to taxi.
Leaving 3,000 feet.
Please contact. Please contact. Departure. On. 126.4. Startup approved. Taxi to hold. Departure runway 2. Please contact. Departure. On. 126. Pushback approved at own discretion.
Roger.
At parking. Information. Whiskey. Read to copy.
Departure runway. Taxi to holding point runway 23.
At parking. Information.
Departure runway 23.
Departure runway 23. When ready to start.
Request startup.
Roger.
Startup approved. Report when ready to taxi.
Startup approved.
Taxi to holding point runway 23. Please contact. Depart. Good day. Please contact. Departure runway. Pushback approved at own discretion.
Departure runway 23.
Please contact. Departure. On. Startup approved. Wind 317 degrees.
Clear for takeoff runway. Call you back passing 3,000.
Pushback approved at own discretion. Please contact. To pushback approved at own. Pushback approved at. Contact tower on. 118.100. Wind 31. Startup approved. Report when ready to taxi.
Startup approved. Call you back when ready to taxi.
Departure runway. Pushback approved at own discretion.
Roger. Request startup.
Startup approved. Report. Startup approved. Report when ready to taxi. Start. Taxi to holding point runway. Wind 317. Pushback approved at own discretion. Request pushback. Pushback approved at own discretion.
At parking. Information.
Departure runway. Departure runway 23. Contact when ready. Departure runway 23. When ready. Departure runway 23.
Departure runway 23.
Pushback approved at own discretion. At parking. Information. Departure runway 2. Pushback approved at. Taxi to holding point runway 23. Pushback approved at own discretion. Startup approved. Report when ready to taxi.
Startup approved.
Pushback approved at own discretion.
At parking.
Departure runway 2. Departure runway 23.
Departure runway 23. When ready to start.
Please contact. Departure. Taxi to holding point run. Pushback approved at own discretion. Pushback approved at own discretion. Request start. Taxi to holding point. Startup approved. Report when ready to taxi. Request startup approved. Pushback approved at own discretion. Wind 317 degrees 5 knots.
Clear for takeoff runway 23.
Pushback approved at own discretion.
At parking.
Departure runway 23. Contact when ready to start. Taxi to holding point runway. Startup approved. Report. Taxi to holding point runway 23.
Departure runway 2.
Roger. Taxi to holding point runway 23.
Request startup. Startup approved. Report when ready to taxi. Startup approved. Call you back when ready to taxi. Roger.
At parking. Information. Whiskey.
Departure runway. Departure runway 23.
Departure runway 23. When ready to start.
Departure runway 23. When ready to start.
Contact tower on. 118.100. Taxi to holding point. Startup approved. Taxi to holding point runway. 2. Pushback approved at. Pushback approved at own. Please contact. Wind 3.22 degrees. Pushback approved at own discretion.
Roger.
Pushback approved at.